Hello everybody, welcome to March 12th, 2023, the start of the day and the start of daylight savings time. Now, anybody here that doesn't like daylight savings time just like me, go ahead and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you feel, how you think about it. But today, let's go ahead and look how the market's going. Oh, it kind of looks like it's doing good for today. But if you look at it for a long time, look at the week, you can see right here, there's been a steadily decline, maybe a tiny little hump back up. You look at the month, you can see right here that it's totally going up, and then it goes down, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like it's crashing. And then you look at 3 months, and you're like, whoa, that's a big difference. Looks like it's tiny bit kind of making itself back up, but if you're a part of the minority mindset and part of the people that are thinking, oh, it's crashing, not selling, but you're actually getting ecstatic and excited, then maybe you're thinking kind of like me, and you're thinking about, hey, maybe I can treat the stock market like a video game. Now, everyone's thinking, Tiny, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. Why would you treat the stock market like a video game? Well, let me go ahead and give you a comparison. So if you go back to the arcades back in the 1990s, or there's even arcades today, nickel arcades and other things like that, or you go to some other type of arcade, you put money in the arcade and you play the game, and as you're playing the game, once you put the money in, you're never going to get the money back, right? Instead, you get tickets. And those tickets, there's some people that they get those tickets and they're like, oh, these are trash, and they just throw them in the trash, and they quit. They quit the game. And then there's other people that they play the game and they start saving, and they all of a sudden they get a lot of tickets, right? And then they go to the counter and then they get their prize, they get their item. And then there's some people that play the game and they get huge trash bags worth of tickets, and they can buy that game console. Back in the day, maybe it was an Xbox or PlayStation or something like that. Oh wow, they won big, and then they sold it off, right? There's those type of people, or people that win the stock, spend all their money, and then that's it. That's the end of the game for them, and then they don't go back to the arcade. Well, then you have those different people, those people that go to the arcade, get lots of tickets, buy the prizes from the counter, and then they take their mindset and they take those prizes and they go to their friends, or they go to other places, and they sell their prizes for real money. And then they take their real money and they go back and they play the game again to get more tickets. And with those other tickets, they get more prizes and they make more money. And every time they do this, they take a little bit of those profits and they keep it for themselves. Now, when you think of it this way, that's exactly what is happening here for dividend stocks. And when I say about dividend stocks, you're taking some of the profits and keeping it for yourself. That's the different mindset here. Everybody plays the game differently. And not just differently, okay? You got to add several different layers to it. The stock market, or the stock market game, is all about research, history, and understanding every single company that you're playing, and every single type of ticket that you're actually getting and using for yourself. You have to think of it as, I put the money in. All the money that I've put into the stock market, it's gone. I put it in the machine. I'm playing the game. This is no longer my money. It's their prizes, their tickets. And that's what you do with those prizes and those tickets that matter. Now, the value goes up and down here because now you're adding a whole nother layer to this particular game, right? You have to understand it. The value of your tickets change up and down. And if you sell off your tickets, you have another part of this game which makes it so complicated, which is why nobody ever gets in. You sell your tickets and all of a sudden I have to do taxes. Now let's talk about the complications of taxes. Taxes have layers and layers and layers upon it, where they made it so complicated that people are too afraid, or they make all the mistakes, or maybe you have this solid emotions, and you'll never ever have this emotional, oh, I'm losing money. Like, I did all the different research. There's so many different ways to make income, passive income. You can make income, like, for example, you see Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He does, when he first started off, he was doing real estate, but he kind of got numb to the emotion of losing money. He was raised that way. When you read his books or watch his videos and go through all that, he really got numb to it. In fact, everybody that's been successful or rich, and you really look at their history and they go back to their story in the beginning, they spent years years upon years upon years learning and either desensitizing themselves to money because to do the real estate game, right? To be a homeowner, you have to be able to manage debt and you have to be able to manage your emotions. And when I say manage debt, if you don't know how to manage debt, right? You're in debt, right? Say you're in debt, 100,000, $1 million, or whatever. And if you can't manage that and the emotional stress that comes with it, then you probably shouldn't go into the real estate business. It's the same thing like starting a business. When I was younger, my mother had a business. It was there for 21 years. And most people that start a business from scratch, I can't remember the numbers, but way back then in the 1990s, you start a business, it was like one business out of 100, or one business out of 50, sorry if I'm getting these numbers wrong, one business out of 50 actually ever made it. And then out of those 1 out of 50, only 5 out of 100 stay successful for 5 years. So if you stayed in business for longer than 5 years, you were successful. But you had to manage all the stress and everything, and then all of a sudden, if you crashed under, like how my mother's business went under after 21 years, she was over $600,000 in debt, and she had to pay off, and it's just nuts, right? And then now you have to manage your debt. You take those risks, but like everything, it's like a game. But it took years and years and years of learning. And when I was a kid back in high school, I would help my mother actually do her taxes and do these things. And that's where I learned my financial, where if you're living paycheck to paycheck, like today, look at most Americans. And my wife doesn't get it. She doesn't. She's like, oh, everybody has money saved up. Everybody has money, in the bank. I'm like, no. Most people don't talk about finances. Most people don't talk about money. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, start thinking about doing something different. And when I say do something different, play the food game, right? If you're going to learn anything at all from me, and when I say food game, if you're going out every day and eating in restaurants, or you're making payments on your phone, do you really need that nice phone? Or you're making payments on a car, do you really need that car? When I was younger, yeah, I bought a really junk beat up car. I had to fix it up. And then, because I didn't know better, I was sold a lemon. I had to fix up that car, and then it broke, and then I didn't have a car for 5 years, and I had to walk 5 miles North Shore. Okay, I walked 5 miles to go to work, carrying tools. I was an electrician at the time, and I had to actually drop out of high school because our house was basically going up for foreclosure in a sense, and it started to, wanted to work for money. And so I walked from one side of the island, basically 5 miles, to get to work. And then I had to go catch the public bus to either come back or walk home because I didn't have the money to catch the bus. Right? You got to do what you got to do to make a living. And so life is all about, it's a game. And when I say food game, if you're eating steak, or whatever you're eating, maybe you're eating fancy foods, or going out to fast food, maybe you're going to like Taco Bell or Chipotle or something like that. If those are the type of foods you like, and I'm just use Chipotle for example, because a lot of people go to Chipotle and maybe they can relate to it. You like beans, you like rice, you like chicken, go to the store, and yeah, it's really expensive right now. Buy a bulk of it, make the food, and yeah, oh, maybe I'm not a good cook. Well, you know what? Like any video game, or like anything in life, practice, practice, practice until you go. When I first started cooking, way back when I was a kid, not all the food turned out good. Right? It takes practice, it takes time. And sometimes if you want to be able to survive and not live paycheck to paycheck, start playing the game and learning to do better at it. Just like all those other people that are successful in life right now today. And if you're watching my video and you've gotten this far, then you're at the start of my journey. I know this is not going to be something where I'm going to be an instant success. I don't plan to be an instant success. I know a lot of my YouTube videos that I've stuck on in the beginning right now, they're not that good. They're not that great. They don't have all this fancy, flashy, changing scenes, going through here, going through that, talking about, keeping your attention, yes, I understand that there's a lot of work involved. And anybody that's thinking about becoming a YouTuber, the amount of work involved, just even creating these videos in the first place, and the emotional and everything, the time spent, it's a large investment of your time. And some people, just like a video game, are unwilling to get in and spend the time to get good at it. Maybe all of a sudden the emotional stress for me or things in life make it so that I can't post anymore. But I think it'd be simple enough for me for every Monday and every Friday to come in here and just showcase where I'm going. My journey started on January 6th, 2023. And you can see right here that the market's down. But, I'm not like everybody else that's stressing out and freaking out about the market is just crashing. I'm actually getting super excited because if there's any time to start investing, it's during crashes, during recessions. Now I know there's banks, closing up. It hasn't happened for 99 years or within 100 years. This hasn't ever happened again. But this is the time to be the most excited, and the most excited because you can get back on that train. Now remember how I was talking about going to the arcade and getting tickets and going up? You have to add another layer to this game. And this is his story and doing your own research, right? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you this is what you should do. I'm just giving you my own personal opinion, my own personal experience, and I'm not giving you financial advice. This is just for entertainment only. But maybe you'll get some knowledge from it and get your own ideas, just like how I've watched Rich Dad Poor Dad, or I've watched all these other different videos, and I've read these books, and you get information from it. The next layer to this is you come over to history and you come over to dividends. All of these dividends, yeah, you're getting this money, is getting reinvested, or at least how I'm doing it, is I'm reinvesting it back into itself, and it can compound, and it become more. And not only can it become more, the value of these stocks, because I'm buying them at a discount in this sense, as the market's going down, right? You have to change your mindset. It may be going down. Yeah, it looks like I'm losing money, and I am, but I haven't lost this money until I sold it. Only when I sell it. Or you can be like Warren Buffett, right? When I say Warren Buffett and I mention this name, if you don't know who he is, Google him, look him up. Okay, you can go and say, for example, you're not subject to risk. You don't want to be very risky. Well, Warren Buffett went into a company like Apple, or Reality Income, and put money in it because it's a safe dividend stock. He put millions of dollars, millions of billions, I don't even know how much money he has in it, inside Apple, because he believes Apple is going to stay for a long time, and he believes it's going to grow. So let's just use this as an example, right? Say, for example, the stock market's going down, right? And it went back down in like 2018. And if you invested back then a dollar, or however much money you have to invest, right? You're willing to take a larger risk. That money starts going up and it starts compounding, and you start getting. Now, the thing about Reality Income and Apple, which I had to learn for myself, get your own education, you don't always listen to me, it pays a dividend every single month. And seeing is believing. And then as it pays a dividend, it goes up and the value increases. As that increases, you get paid more dividends because now it's more money, and also it's worth more. But like Warren Buffett, he's a long-term holder. He plays the game very differently than a lot of other people. Not a day trader, but instead he's an investor. He invests his money, and he gets paid dividends from Apple, because Apple pays every single month. And when I say seeing is believing, you can see right here, Reality Income, pay me 3 cents. I'm like, okay, Reality Income. And most dividend stocks, they don't pay you monthly. There's only a bunch of them, like 60, 80 different dividend stocks that pay you every single month. Reality Income, ticker O, that's the one that pays you every single month. And Apple, I believe, does it too. Don't quote me on that. And there's a bunch of other dividend stocks that also pay you monthly. I did my own research. I stuck them and I moved them around. You can see right here, here's O and pay me in February. And then I was looking over here and I was like, why does everybody think Reality O? Not only are they a solid stock when you do your research and actually look them up, but they pay you monthly, because they paid me in February and they're paying me again in March. Now I know it's only 11 cents, but it's considered a safe dividend stock. Now Maine, I believe, is also one as well. Let me come back over here. I have my list over here, and I believe right here, these ones right here, O, Maine, SLRC, Gain, SLG, Good, and EFC, These stocks pay you monthly, but some of them are more risky than others. And you can see here right here by the dollar point value. For example, I order them by highest dividend yield to lowest dividend yield that pays out as of right now. And it changes also because of when I actually started investing in these particular dividend stocks. Like EFC, I only started recently. Good, SOG, Gain, and SOG. I started recently, so my gains are different from starting with O in January. But you can see right here, EFC, its risk is possibly much, much higher. And you have the chance of losing all of your money. If it drops down all the way to here, all of a sudden, the value that I have becomes a whole lot less. My $42 doesn't pay $42, but it pays me out 43 cents this month for only $42. Or if I come over here and I look at reality income is paying me, I only have $34.62, and I'm only getting 11 cents this particular month. Now, yeah, I did when I first jumped in, I put a little bit money here and there, but I am doing my recurring investments for just $1 every single month. Let me come back over here and look at my manage my investments, and you can see right here I'm doing $1 every single day. That's the main plan. That's the long-term plan. No matter what happens, if you're gonna whatever plan you plan to do, you don't follow me. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just letting you know this is how I'm doing it, and you can see my results here. I'm just gonna post them so you can see them. But it's going to be buying every single trading day. Stocks are not open during the weekends, so Saturdays and Sundays they're not open for day trading. You can do after hours trading and other things, but it's not open that way. Where cryptocurrencies, if you're doing cryptocurrency, which is its own little thing, they've only been around for like 9-10 years or so. It's different. You can trade every single day, and you can see right here, 2 of them out of the 12 that I have, I'm only doing 10 that are doing $1 a day. That's my particular strategy, and so you have to have a goal for your strategy. Just like many things in life, if you don't have a goal and you just play your game and your goal is not to beat the game or finish the game or beat that boss, then you're not gonna succeed. You're not gonna get to where you want to be, and you're going to reach what I know I'm calling it like a super boss right here. February 20th, super boss happens, and you could be like one of those day traders and just panic, and sell everything off, right? And then you lose everything. You lost. You really lost, because you didn't just losing your physical money. You lost, and then you quit the game, and you didn't get back in. Or maybe you do decide to get back in later, but you quit the game and lost, and then you also have to pay taxes. Or you can be the extra layer. Remember, every single game has its secret hidden little Easter eggs or other type of different games to it. You can do tax loss harvesting, right? If I were to sell, let's for example, ADA today, and it's minus $10, because I didn't gain any money, I can actually use this as, well, I lost money. So now, because I lost $10.09, that's $10.90 right now, I can use it on my taxes for any of my gains to offset what I gain. Because you have to pay. The other thing that makes it more complicated, the reason why maybe people don't get into dividend stocks, is every single one of these dividend stocks that I am getting paid these cents on, I have to pay taxes on that. But dividend stocks are taxed differently than regular income, in a sense, as long as you hold on to it for a long period of time. Like day traders, if you buy and sell in less than a year, you have to pay like it's part of your regular income. And just like how I was talking before in my previous video, if you have Social Security, you have a 401k, right? Not a Roth 401k or Roth IRA or anything like that, and you have a 401k, and you decide you need to start pulling out your money when you retire, that counts as your income, and you get taxed for it. It's insane, the amount of everything, that the layers that go upon it. But let's say, for example, you're only making dividend income. Dividend income is different on the tax laws. You can make up to $80,000 if you're not making any other income. Like you have no other income for anything, not Social Security or anything else. You can make up to $80,000 with no taxes, right? You don't have to do any of your taxes on up to $80,000 if that's all you're making just from dividends, because of how the tax law is written. And that's why some people do it, because it feels safe, it's easier to retire with it, and how you can do it that way. Because you have to remember now, when you get older and you retire and you're older, because I'm thinking about that already as I'm getting older. I didn't think about it when I was younger, but I think about it now. You have to do your own taxes. Like if you're getting a paycheck, right? They're doing all the taxes for it. They're pulling it all out. It's all written down in your W-2 or whatever you're doing for your work. Well, when you get older, you got to do it all yourself. Grandmother is like 93, maybe she's 90 something. Maybe she's 95 now. I can't even remember. Forgive me, Grandma, if you're listening to this. It's she has to do all over her own tax herself. She has to calculate everything herself, and then she has to put down her income and everything. I remember one year, a couple years back, she was like, "Oh, I have to pay money out of all the Social Security that we have. I have to pay taxes. Oh, I'm so old already. I might as well not even do it." And then her daughter, who's an accountant, is like, "No, you're supposed to get money back. Here, you need to do all this. You have to do all this paperwork. You have to do everything." And you know, but it's the complications. Once you get older, you no longer want to do your own taxes. You no longer want to do those things. It's not going to matter to you anymore. When I'm 95, 96, or however, if I ever get to the age, right? There's some people, the average lifespan of a male back when I was in the 1990s was 60 years old. So you're saying basically I only have 20 more years to live? Yeah, that's still possible, right? Technology, medicine, everything else is advancing. People live a lot longer nowadays. I'm not saying people are going to die. I have no idea what the average life expectancy now is for a male. But yeah, you have to think of these things if you want to, play that game. And however much time you have, everybody is eventually going to, pass away in some point in time. And how you want to live and how you want to succeed, you're like, oh, I might as well spend all my money now. That's the mindset for most people. No money in the bank. $1,000 in the bank at most, or less, right? And you're living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. Change up your plan. Start playing a different game. And that game is figuring out, how do I survive? Like if you've ever played those survival games, or maybe you don't play survival games, maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, Let's Don't Starve Together, or Ark Survival, or Rust, or like 7 Days to Die, or those type of games. There's a food buffer, right? You have to figure out your food and how you're going to get your food and how you're going to get your next meal. That's just only one tiny section of the game, right? The life game itself, so many layers, and if you don't practice and learn and get better at it, you're not going to be as successful as the person next to you. And like any video game, you watch somebody play it, you envy them, and all you sit there and you envy them, and you don't ever get on and actually start trying. Or maybe you start trying and you're playing, and you reach your very first boss, and you're like, oh, I'm done, I quit, I no longer want to play. Or and you get your second boss, and you're grinding, you're learning. Oh, I no longer want to play, I'm done, I quit. Or you go all over here and you get to this part right here, and you lost a lot, and you reached the super boss, and it took you forever to get there, and then you decide to quit again. Or maybe you're at this point, right? Maybe like a lot of people are, and they're all depressed, and they lost, and you're losing. You never get to the point where, oh, I'm gonna still play. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna just keep going. And there's so many different layers to this. So I'm so happy that you've stayed this long, or if you listen to this long. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for being here today with me. Go ahead and leave me a comment below. Subscribe if you like this content. I'm going to be posting at least every Monday, every Friday of my situation and how this is going. And thank you for being here, and you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day.